Hey guys, this is Kristen with HK Wax Center. I had another awesome question, which was why isn't the wax removing the hair where I laid the strip? Which could be a plethora of things. So it's kind of ruling out which one might be. Obviously, one, quality of the wax, absolutely. Depending on what you're using, it's either going to work or it's not. So just make sure you get something that's high quality. Another huge factor, prepping the skin. If you're not prepping the skin correctly, it's not going to work either way. So make sure that you are you're cleansing it, so you're removing any kind of makeup, dirt, sweat, oil, anything like that, anything that's going to affect the way that the wax actually adheres to your hair. That's big number one factor. If the client's skin's dry, I always put a little bit of, I use sesame oil, but some kind of oil. If they have oily skin in general, then I'll skip that step because they already have it. Or even if it's bikini or underarm, I'll add a little bit of baby powder. If it's a leg or something like that, I won't. But prepping the skin is 100% one of the biggest factors for why the hair isn't being removed, just because you're not prepping it the right way to get the results that you need. So keep that in mind. Another thing, if your client isn't exfoliating in between appointments, then it's going to be hard for the hair to push through the skin. So with waxing, as you should know, it's going to come back thinner, which is awesome. That's what we want. And it comes back thinner, and the hair itself is finer. It's a brand new baby hair compared to hair that's just been cut off at the surface whenever you shave. So because it's a new thin baby hair, it's going to be harder to actually push through the surface, which means it can turn over and cause an ingrown. Or you'll also see them just lay like right on top of right underneath the skin itself. So you can clearly see the hair there, but there's a little layer of skin on top of it, which just means they need to exfoliate. I've had this issue with clients, especially with legs. I have some clients I just can't convince them no matter what to exfoliate. And it is frustrating because you'll see those hairs there, and I'll lay the strip thinking they're all going to come off, and then 25% of them are there, and I'll look closely and I'm like, it's not the wax. It's the client, it's the hair isn't able to poke through because there's just a little layer of dead skin on top. So it's extremely important to educate your clients or even yourself that you need to start exfoliating regularly in between appointments so that you can make sure that that hair is actually above the skin so that it can be removed. So that's a huge factor. What else? So not laying enough pressure whenever you're applying your strip. I know a lot of people are, especially for starting out, you're nervous to push on your client to lay that strip. I promise you, you're not going to hurt them unless you're like digging at them. You know what I mean? You're not going to hurt them. They'll be fine. But you need to make sure you are pushing with a good amount of pressure so that you get to the base of the skin. So as close to the root as possible. That way you're not just snapping it and basically shaving them instead of actually waxing them. So use your pressure, that's huge. And then applying the strip in the wrong direction. With hard wax, you need to apply in the direction of the hair growth and then remove the opposite. I've seen people apply in the direction of the hair growth but then remove in the same direction. That doesn't make sense. Or the opposite. They'll start out applying it in the opposite direction of the hair growth and then removing it with the hair growth. So for your first strips, always apply with the hair growth and remove. For cleanups, then you go opposite because you don't have as much hair there the second time for cleanups. But first one, with, and then against. So keep that in mind. If the hairs are too short, they're also not going to be removed. I always get, especially if they haven't never waxed before, they'll make an appointment and then I'll look at them and I'm like, when did you shave last? Oh, a week ago. That's not going to work. You need to make sure the hair is long enough, which I normally tell my clients 3 weeks is really the minimum that I want them coming in, and 6 is the maximum. That's kind of your happy point for waxing, between 3 and 6 weeks. Obviously, there's people that their hair grows back just really slow and they can push up to 2 months. I'm jealous. Good for you. But for most of us, between 3 and 6 weeks is good. If it's too short, they're not going to come out. And if it's too long, it's just going to cause excess pain. That really isn't necessary. So Keep that in mind. And then also, the last thing is waiting too long before you actually remove the strip. Now, if you wait too long, this can obviously cause the wax itself to crack when you remove it, which means it comes off in multiple pieces, and that just sucks. But if it is and it cracks, it's also not going to remove the hair because it's just snapping it. Because at that point, the wax isn't elastic anymore. It's now just hard. Which is why I like hard wax so much, because if you have a quality wax, it will stay elastic. But if you leave it on for too long, it's going to cool down too much, and then it's not going to perform the way it was made to. So, which figuring out how long you need to wait is really just based on practice. Just whether it's on yourself, or I've mentioned this I don't know how many times, but taking a sheet of paper and I'll put it on my wax table, and I used to just practice making strips on there. And getting the feel for it so you can see how the wax is performing and how long you need to take to remove it. So keep that in mind too. But hopefully I didn't miss anything. If I did, if you have any questions, anything I forgot to mention, just drop a comment. I always try to go through and answer them in a timely fashion. If I am a little bit late, a couple days or a week, I apologize, but I try. So any questions, let me know. A phone number here is 512-501-2767. Thanks for watching. Bye guys.